while the submission rightly highlights, quote, defeating drug cartels and combating the drug poisoning epidemic in communities, quote, the budget puts a department-wide emphasis on equipping federal agents with body cameras. Drug cartels and their crime syndicates in the United States must be decimated, period. The death and devastation the cartels and gangs are inflicting on American families and bringing them to justice ought to be the department's top priority. Whether the agents doing the decimating have a camera attached to them is secondary, by far. Despite this administration's best efforts to push the issue to the back burner, the Biden border crisis continues and shows no signs of stopping. People and drugs continue to flow across the southern border in blatant contravention of our laws. In an ever-evolving situation, last year, 50 times more Chinese citizens were apprehended crossing illegally from Mexico compared to 2 years ago. 50 times worse. When landowners attempt to protect their life and property, they end up being arrested. When will this madness stop? Perhaps when this administration takes the cuffs off law enforcement and allows them to do their job. Next, the department prioritizes combating violent crime and gun violence. In their 2023 Violent Crime Survey, the Major City Chiefs Association noted a decrease in homicide, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault in American cities. However, these decreases were slight, and the numbers remain unacceptably high. Nevertheless, I'm hopeful that this change in direction signifies a lasting about-face by those who embraced the defund the police movement and vindication for those of us who decried it from the very beginning. With the trends for now seeming to go in the right direction, it confounds me that the department seeks to cut law enforcement assistance, including reductions to state and local law enforcement assistance grants and the State Criminal Alien Assistance Program. Another priority listed by the department is protecting national security by countering terrorism, cyber threats, and nation-state threats. To that end, I will commend the National Security Division for acknowledging in their budget submission the October 7th terrorist attack on Israel by the terror group Hamas, noting that the attack has led to an increase in terrorism-related conduct, both domestically and overseas. Such a warning has taken on greater importance in recent weeks as chants of death to America are no longer confined to Middle Eastern capitals, but are now being heard on American streets. If such chants are not terrorism-related conduct, I tell you, it's pretty close. I would like to hear if the Attorney General agrees and what action the department might take regarding these developments, aside from issuing statements of condemnation. The Department of Justice over the last 4 years has picked sides when prosecuting and ultimately failed to uphold the rule of law equally and fairly when it comes to American citizens and even American businesses. It's not surprising The two phrases notably absent from the budget request are, quote, equal justice under law, and, quote, respect for separation of powers, end of quote. In closing, Mr. Attorney General, where we can find agreement, you will find support here. But when priorities diverge and agency actions are at odds with what we consider good government and common sense, we will respond accordingly. We recognizing that you have an incredibly demanding job, and I appreciate your being here today. We look forward to working with the ranking member and all members of the subcommittee to appropriately fund the important missions of the Department of Justice as this year's appropriations process moves forward. At this time, I want to recognize Mr. Cartwright for any remarks he may wish to make.
Thank you, Chairman Rogers.